Hello friends, we'll start new chapter Nutrition and Health from semester 2 course 4, and in our today's lecture we'll concentrate more on balanced diet and food pyramid. First of all, we'll uh, study the term nutrition, which is the base of the topic. What is nutrition? Nutrition can be defined as the science which deals with those life processes by which body uses food for energy, growth, and for the maintenance of the health. Here, first we'll focus more on the name of the scientist, Anthony Lavoisier, who recognized its significance and published his studies on nutrition, and thus being called as the father of the nutrition. And this term nutrition, which is one of the life process, and it consists of sub processes: ingestion, digestion, absorption, and assimilation of the food material. Ingestion means intake of food material. Digestion means conversion of complex, non-absorbable, non-diffusible food material into simple, absorbable, and diffusible food material. That is ingestion, then digestion, then comes absorption into the first into the blood, and then into the which is supplied into the body parts, that is to the cells of the animal body, from blood to cell. And then when the food material comes into the cell, the food material is converted into the parts or components of the cell. That is what we term it as the assimilation, satmikaran in Marathi. And then we'll start the next part of the topic, that is definition. Thus, nutrition can be defined as the science that deals with those life processes by which body uses food for energy, growth, and maintenance of health. Here, those life processes which are essential for the nutrition means the processes by which body uses food for liberating energy so as to perform the work of the cell and all body. That for which respiration is essential, where oxidation of the food material takes place to release energy, and that energy can be utilized by the cells. Where growth of the cell takes place, that means the wear and tear of the cell takes place, and for which maintenance is also essential, and growth also takes place from the nutritive material which is consumed by the person. And therefore, nutrition is directly related with the health. Means nutrition and health, these are the two sides of the same coin. If the individual is using proper nourishment or proper nutrition, then the health must be maintained because of that. Therefore, optimum nutrition means a person receiving and utilizing required nutrients in proper proportion which is required by the body while providing a reserve. Means person receives and utilize required nutrition in a appropriate proportion, in a proper proportion, so that body can maintain its health, and also the reserve of food material which is stored in the body. Means if the person is utilizing a proper nutrition, that can be converted into the food components such as carbohydrate, proteins, and fats, that is simplest product of these food components, besides which minerals and vitamins which are also required in micro amounts, and these elements along with the water are essential so as to maintain the health or the optimum nutrition, and then health can be maintained. The nutritional status refers to the intake of well-balanced diet, which supplies all the essential nutrients to meet the body's requirement. Such a person may be said to be receiving optimum nutrition. The various nutrients required in right amounts that must be taken regularly and which consist of the proteins, carbohydrates, fats, minerals and vitamins, which are the main constituents of the food. Water is present in all body tissues and that accounts for about 55 to 77% of the body weight. The lean adults have higher body water content than the obese adults. Because in case of the obese person, lipogenesis takes place and the weight of the body is because of the deposition of the fat, which actually serves as the reserve food material, and it is economical to store lipids or deposit lipids in the body rather than carbohydrate, because energy which is released by the oxidation of the carbohydrate is less and from the fat it is more. Now we'll consider the functions of the nutrients, why nutrients are essential. First function, that is to build, to repair the daily wear and tear of the body. Because for all life processes, body is utilizing the energy by the oxidation, and for which the wear and tear of the cell of the body takes place, and that can be repaired by the nutrients. Carbohydrates and fats supply energy because these are the cheap sources of energy. Carbohydrates are the instant sources of energy, that is quick burst of energy. First, our body can utilize blood glucose, and by that, if the energy which is released is insufficient, then fats or proteins can be used, and therefore these food sources are converted ultimately into the glucose, the process which is known as gluconeogenesis. Generally, when intake of carbohydrate is more, the excess carbohydrates are stored in the form of the glycogen in the muscle and liver as a liver glycogen and muscle glycogen. And these glycogen stored are then utilized as per the need of the individual. But when depletion of these glycogens from the liver and muscle takes place, body requires additional energy source, and that can be provided by the fats and proteins, which are ultimately converted into glucose and can be utilized by the body. And therefore role of the gluconeogenesis process is also important. Proteins provide functional and structural material and also supply energy when the dietary intake of the carbohydrate and fat is low. That means first source of the energy or the cheap source of energy is first of all carbohydrate, then fats and then proteins. And therefore the process is known as glycogenesis and gluconeogenesis. These are the synthetic process, or the storage of the glycogen takes place by these two processes, and the utilization of the energy also takes place in the same manner. First carbohydrate, then fats and then proteins. Vitamins and minerals along with water help to regulate various body processes like respiration, digestion, then circulation, or various metabolic processes, absorption of the food material, elimination, that is during excretion, etc. Cellulose or dietary fibers also play important role, though not a digestible part of the diet, because a human being is not having enzyme cellulase to digest the cellulose and convert it into simple sugars. Even though the role of the dietary fiber is important because they help in the process of elimination of the digestive waste. Now the next point is the guidelines for the nutritional health, how we can maintain the health by means of these guidelines is the important. And first one is the maintaining regularity in the routine food habits. That is, there must be a fixed time for the lunch and dinner, also for the breakfast. Overeating should be avoided because it naturally results in the deposition of the fat, and anything which is excess is toxic to the body. Even the overeating play that role. Fruits should be eaten without adding salts and spices and before lunch. Fruits and even the sweets can be used before lunch. Excessive salt, spices, sweets and sugar should be avoided. Avoid food rich in cholesterol and saturated fats. No doubt, cholesterol is essential for various body activities. Even the role of cholesterol in the neural pathway, or the what we term it as the membranes of the nerve cells, is important. And saturated fats, they are toxic to the body, because as you know that there are two types of fats. One is LDL and another is HDL. These saturated fats are toxic to the body, and it should be avoided to take the food which is rich in cholesterol and saturated fats. Appropriate or the particular use of the substances in a small amount is desirable. Include variety of food in the order to constitute a balanced diet. The Indian thali or the food is the suitable example for this, that which contain the carbohydrate source rice, then dal as the source of protein, then ghee as the source of the fat, then lemon as the source of vitamin C, besides which salad is there, and also chutney and all fiber containing vegetables which are included in the Indian food, which is actually balanced diet. We must mention that as a balanced diet. It is necessary to select wisely from the different food for healthy living. Incorporate natural food so as to fulfill body's nutritional requirement. And that means packed food should be avoided because preservatives are there, and also excess use of the salt or sugar is there. Concept of balanced diet, that is, balanced diet may be defined as one which contains various groups of foodstuffs such as energy yielding food, body building food, and protective food, so as to increase immunity in correct proportion so that an individual get all nutrients in the required amount. Therefore, concept of balanced diet means, what is balanced diet? The balanced diet can be defined as one which contains various groups of foodstuffs such as energy yielding food, body building food, then protective food in correct proportion so that an individual can get all the nutrients in the required amounts. The first food pyramid was published in Sweden in 1974. US Department of Agriculture provided the food guide pyramid in 1992 with 6 food groups, which is shown in our next diagram, and it was modified in 2005 and then updated in 2012 as my pyramid, which is shown in this diagram as the broadest part of the pyramid. That first row, it shows the servings of the grains 6 to 11 times a day, then servings of the fruits and vegetables which are lesser than grain, 3 to 5 for vegetables and 2 to 4 for fruits. Then above that, the row of the protein diet is there, which consists of the milk, yogurt, cheese, egg, then meat, poultry, fish, beans, nuts, that is pulses, etc. All that is in that row it comes. Then the top of the pyramid, which shows the food items which should be consumed in restricted amount, and it contains fats, oils, sweets, etc. The USDA Food Guide Pyramid has divided into 6 horizontal parts showing food from each food group. It helps in guiding and suggesting the choice food with lots of variety for entire day and for all age groups except below 2 years of age. In this pyramid, at the base, there are very broad food groups made up of cereals and rice. Above it, there is a fruit and vegetable group. Then meat, milk products, eggs, nuts, and pulses are there. At the top, smallest space is given to fat, essential oils, and sweets. And the pyramid which is shown here shows percentage wise food items which are to be consumed during day. 40% food items are carbohydrate which constitute the base of the pyramid, consist of the bread, cereal, then pasta, etc. Then above which the row comes of the vegetable and fruits that constitute near about 35%. Then protein food or protein diet that constitute meat, fish, milk and eggs, that is 20%. And the topmost portion of the pyramid showing fat, oil, sugars, sweets which are to be consumed 5% only. Diet or nutrition for different age group can be classified on the basis of the age of the person. Diet for adult person is different from pregnant woman, diet for nursing woman and diet for the adolescent. Diet for the infant is again different. Diet for the aged person is again different. That means the diet or nutrition which is to be consumed by the particular individual, it depends upon the age of the individuals or the particular condition of the individual. If the individual is doing moderate work, the amount of the diet is different. For strenuous muscular work, again the diet will be different. For the sedentary work, again the diet will be different. Our body needs a regular supply of all these nutrients depending upon the different age groups or the work which is performed by the particular individual. Balanced diet, that is which contain all types of foods in sufficient amounts so as to fulfill the body's needs of the nutrients. There are certain recommended dietary allowances for different age groups, including pregnant and lactating women, published by the Indian Council of Medical Research, that is nothing but the ICMR. Now we'll consider the nutritional requirement of the individual according to the age or the physical status of the individual or the work that is performed by the individual. We'll consider the nutritional requirement in our legs lecture, and the points which are to be considered are infant's diet, then food and feeding during infancy, artificial feeding, then solid food or supplementary food, then dietary requirement of the adult, pregnant woman and aged person will consider in our last lecture. Thanks for watching my lecture. Share this video for the benefit of the maximum students, and don't forget to subscribe the channel World of Zoology. Thank you once again.